Imagine it's 2025. Brazil is a vibrant, bustling nation full of technological advancements. Yet, despite all the progress, most Brazilians still know little about digital radio. The airwaves, once a source of innovation, remain largely untouched by this modern marvel. HD radio, also known as IBOC, is a technology that promised to revolutionize radio broadcasting, but it's largely a forgotten promise. It represents a road not fully traveled, a potential unrealized. It was supposed to make radio better, to breathe new life into a medium that had been around for decades. The goal was to enhance the listening experience and bring radio into the digital age. Clearer sound, free from the static and interference that often plagued traditional FM and AM broadcasts. More channels, offering listeners a wider variety of content and programming choices. And song info displayed right on your radio, making it easier to discover new music and stay informed. All on the same old FM and AM channels, ensuring a seamless transition for both broadcasters and listeners. The idea was simple: to overlay a digital signal onto existing analog frequencies. Digital and analog signals would share the same spot on the radio frequency spectrum, working in harmony. So no one would be left out, regardless of whether they had a new digital radio or an old analog one. Digital radio, much like digital TV, changes sound into computer data, allowing for more efficient transmission and better quality, making it stronger against bad signals, reducing interference, and offering more cool features like data services and interactive content. HD radio's main selling point, and perhaps its most appealing aspect, was that old radios still worked, and new ones got the digital upgrade, offering the best of both worlds without forcing anyone to abandon their existing equipment. But this forced sharing of analog and digital on one channel, this delicate balancing act, became its biggest problem, creating a host of technical challenges that proved difficult to overcome. The dream of an easy upgrade, a seamless transition to digital radio, crashed into real-world technical problems, including signal degradation, interference issues, and compatibility concerns. And money problems, as broadcasters faced significant costs to upgrade their equipment and infrastructure. Especially in Brazil's busy airwaves, where the radio frequency spectrum is already heavily congested. What seemed like a good step forward, a promising innovation with the potential to transform radio, soon became a warning story of big plans that went wrong, a cautionary tale of technological ambition meeting real-world limitations, and a bad design, ultimately hindering its widespread adoption and leaving many Brazilians unaware of its potential. HD radio's main idea is to squeeze both digital and analog signals into the same broadcasting channel. It's a concept that sounds good on paper, promising higher fidelity audio and additional data services. The goal was to provide a better listening experience without requiring a completely new infrastructure. Think of it like trying to fit two cars into one lane on a busy highway. It's a tight squeeze, and compromises have to be made. This approach aimed to modernize radio broadcasting while maintaining compatibility with existing analog receivers. To make this dual transmission possible, the digital signal has to be significantly weaker than the analog signal. This is a crucial aspect of the design, intended to prevent interference between the two signals. In fact, the digital signal is sent out at only about 1% of the power of the analog signal. This drastic reduction in power is necessary to ensure that the existing analog broadcasts remain largely unaffected. This inherently makes the digital signal quite weak, and therefore more susceptible to interference and signal degradation. As a result, the coverage area for the digital signal is much smaller than that of the analog signal. This limited range is one of the major drawbacks of the HD radio system. When you're close to the broadcast tower, you can often enjoy clear, high-quality digital sound. But as you move away from the tower, or if there are obstructions in the way, the digital signal can quickly disappear, leaving you with silence or a switch back to analog. Because of this unreliable signal, HD radios are constantly switching back and forth between the digital and analog broadcasts, trying to maintain a continuous audio stream. This constant switching often results in a jumpy and ultimately unreliable listening experience, which can be quite frustrating for the user. Furthermore, there's typically a 7-second delay associated with the digital broadcast, which can make listening to live events particularly awkward. Just imagine hearing the roar of the crowd celebrating a goal on the analog signal, only to hear the goal announced on the digital signal 7 seconds later. So instead of delivering a smooth and seamless upgrade to radio broadcasting, HD radio often provided listeners with a buggy and unpredictable system. Ultimately, the initial promise of HD radio, with its potential for improved audio quality and enhanced features, was largely undermined by its own inherent technical problems and limitations. Brazil's crowded cities and busy radio channels showed HD radio's weaknesses. The low-power digital signal was easily messed up by signals from other stations, making its coverage smaller. Signals bouncing off buildings made digital reception shaky, especially in cities. Listeners found the digital experience short-lived, with frequent cutouts and constant switching back to analog. Instead of better sound, users got upset and unreliable service. The technology failed the basic test. It didn't give a consistently better service. Radio stations quickly realized the system couldn't keep its promises. The Brazilian landscape was not friendly to a system built on compromises. Besides technical problems, HD radio's special system required expensive fees from radio stations and makers. For Brazilian stations with little money, the cost and ongoing payments to a foreign company were a deal-breaker. Receivers were expensive, with no special content to make the price worth it for customers. Radio stations didn't want to spend money without listeners. Listeners wouldn't buy receivers without exciting content. A classic chicken and egg problem. The closed system stopped competition and kept prices high. With streaming and phone apps getting popular, over-the-air HD radio wasn't very appealing. The industry saw no way to make money and chose to stick with analog. The government offered no clear plan or help. The money side of HD radio just didn't make sense. Brazil's transition to digital TV stands as a successful case study in technology adoption. One of the key reasons for its triumph was the allocation of a new, dedicated channel for each broadcasting station. This meant that each station had its own exclusive pathway to transmit digital signals, free from the constraints and potential interference of existing analog channels. This is in stark contrast to HD radio's approach, which forced the new digital signals to share bandwidth with existing analog broadcasts. This sharing model created a congested environment, where digital and analog signals often interfered with each other, leading to a less than ideal listening experience. Because each station had its own dedicated channel, broadcasters could transmit digital TV signals at full power. This ensured a strong, consistent signal across a wide geographical area. This high-powered transmission was crucial in making sure of strong coverage, even in remote or challenging areas. The result was a reliable and consistent viewing experience for the end user. Viewers immediately benefited from instant, high-quality service with sharper images and clearer sound. The transition was seamless, with no confusing switching between analog and digital signals, and no frustrating cutouts or interruptions. The digital TV system was designed to be easy to use, even for those unfamiliar with new technology. Crucially, channel numbers stayed the same, even as the underlying technology changed from analog to digital. This simple detail helped to minimize confusion and made the transition much smoother for viewers. This smooth and user-friendly approach encouraged quick adoption of digital TV across Brazil. The intuitive design and reliable performance kept confusion low and satisfaction high. The lesson from Brazil's digital TV transition is clear: a clean break from the old analog system rather than a forced coexistence. Providing new technology with its own dedicated space is a must for digital success. Forcing new technologies to share limited resources, as HD radio did, only leads to a frustrating experience filled with problems and signal interference. The SBTVD model clearly demonstrates that new technology needs sufficient room and resources to operate at its best and deliver its full potential. Brazil proved that it could successfully manage a digital transition on a national scale, but only when the implementation strategy is well-planned and properly executed. HD radio's failure opened the door to better digital radio solutions for Brazil. Two promising ways have appeared: the double-channel model and the collateral DRM model. Both separate analog and digital signals onto different channels, avoiding interference and power limits. Double channel gives each FM station a new digital channel, possibly in freed-up TV or UHF bands. Collateral DRM uses empty AM channels for digital broadcasts using the open strong DRM standard. These models allow full-powered digital signals, new ideas and gradual change, without trapping broadcasters into special systems. Open standards like DRM encourage competition and lower costs. These are practical, workable plans for a digital radio future that fits Brazil's needs. The quietness around digital radio in Brazil is a lesson in itself. HD radio failed because it wasn't right for Brazil's situation. Technology must fit local needs, not just follow global trends. The IBO-C model's main compromise, sharing a channel, guaranteed a weaker digital service. Digital TV's success showed that dedicated space and an easy-to-use change are key. Streaming is popular now, but over-the-air radio is still important for reaching many people and free access. Brazil should use open standards like DRM and models that use separate channels. Lawmakers must officially move on from IBOC and support a gradual, flexible change. The dream of high-quality digital radio is still alive, if we learn from the past and choose a smarter path.